What's going on, beautiful people? It's Jerry Travis Smith, and today I'm going to show you how to install Windows 11 in what I feel is the best possible way. The regular Microsoft Windows installation puts a bunch of junk on your computer that you don't want. It doesn't give you certain opportunities to customize your PC, and you have to be on the internet and have a Microsoft account just to install. The way I'm going to show you bypasses all that and gives you much more control how your system is set up. We're going to get rid of some junk that you don't want on your PC. We're going to customize some things, and we're also going to have local accounts you can log on to in case something goes south with your internet access. So if you're interested in that kind of install, stick around. Regardless of how you're going to install Windows 11, the first thing you need to do is make some install media. So to do that, we're going to use an 8 gig or larger USB flash drive. So the first thing I need to do is plug my flash drive in. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Google and type in download Windows 11, just like that. And the very first thing that pops up, download Windows 11, click on it. And we're not going to do the Windows 11 installation assistant because that would be if I wanted to do some kind of upgrade or whatever on this PC that I'm using to make this flash drive. You need to come down to create Windows 11 installation media and hit download now. So we've got the media creation tool. I'm going to hit save. And it's not a very big tool, so unless your internet's really slow, it's pretty well instantaneous. It should go to your downloads folder. I'm going to click on media creation tool. And we're going to tell it yes, because you got to give it admin rights. Now how long this takes depends on the speed of your flash drive as well as the speed of your internet connection, but for most people, if you have some kind of broadband, it's not going to take more than 30 minutes. So accept the licensing terms. Unless you need to change your language or something from English, you can leave this box checked. Do next. So we're going to choose USB flash drive, click next. And I have drive D in here, which is, I know, is the cheapy flash drive I bought at Walmart. I'll go next. Then it's going to download Windows 11 and then copy those files to the flash drive, and it'll tell you when it's done, and I'll be back. So it's been about 15-20 minutes, something like that. Came back and this is done. Notice that my flash drive is on drive D. We need to know that for the next part we're going to do. Now, if we were just going to do the official way that Microsoft wants you to install Windows 11, we could pop this flash drive out right now, put it in the new PC that we want to install Windows 11 on, and go through the normal Microsoft installation method. But I don't want to do that because I want to do the customizations I talked about at the beginning of this video. I'm going to go ahead and hit finish. The next part is I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to type in auto unattend generator. And the first thing that pops up is schneegens.de. It's this guy in Germany. His last name's Schneegens. But let's go ahead and click this. And what this is going to do is help us to build a script called unattend.xml or auto unattend.xml that lets us set up a bunch of options that we normally wouldn't get a chance to set up during the Windows 11 installation. So if you're in a language different than English, we're going to set that. I'm going to just leave it because that's what mine is. And let's see here. All of that looks good. Now, since this is a new PC I'm going to be installing on, I do not need to check this box that says bypass the Windows 11 requirements for TPM, secure boot, and all that. But I'm going to bypass it anyway because I think that it's none of Microsoft's business if I want to put Windows 11 on some hardware that they're not incredibly happy with. If you do this method and you check this box on a PC that is not supported by Windows 11 because of TPM, secure boot, and whatnot, this will allow Windows 11 to be installed. Now, I don't think it's the best experience most of the time, but I don't tell people what they can and can't install things on if it's technically possible. I just show you how. Now I'm going to click this allow Windows 11 to be installed without an internet connection, because sometimes you're installing in a place where you don't have internet. Like in this corner of the basement I'm in, I don't have wired Ethernet, and I'm going to have to install a driver once we get into Windows to get the Wi-Fi working. So that's one reason people may need to do that. Okay, and this one's a biggie for me. If you ever go to my network and you see these really weird names for the machines in there, like desktop ZFAH blah blah, that's because Windows nowadays just assigns one randomly ever since Windows 10, I think. But this lets me name it right up front whatever I want it to be. So I'm going to call this Trav RGB, because this new system that I built is RGB. And don't worry, friends, you're going to be seeing it. Okay, and because I have a satellite internet connection, sometimes it messes up and sets my time zone based on where the network head is coming out of for the satellite. So I'm going to go ahead and manually set this to Eastern time right up front. This part can be automated, but I am not going to. We're going to partition the disk interactively during Windows setup. I feel like this is a safe thing to do in case somebody were to stick that flash drive in to a machine they did not want to format and tried to use it, because what we're going to do, it very much automates the Windows 11 install process once we get it started. For all of my systems, I do Windows 11 Pro, because Windows 11 Pro lets you use things built into Windows to disable a lot of the foolishness that people don't want Windows 11 doing. Windows 11 Home doesn't have those mechanisms, which are called group policy. Now keep in mind, this method does not keep you from having to have a product key if you've never installed Windows 11 on a particular motherboard before. Okay, this just allows us to get through the install process, and then you go put the product key in later when you're prompted to. Okay, we can leave the rest of that alone. This part I really like. I think it sucks that you can't use Windows 11 without having a Microsoft account. These are local accounts that we used to create all the time, and instead of having to have a Microsoft account, we can create the local accounts right here. I'm just going to call mine Trav, and I'm going to leave the password blank. We're not going to keep it blank, but for the install process, we're just going to leave it empty. Now, I don't need a secondary non-admin user. Some people would disagree with this, but I'm just going to delete this guy. The only account that'll be created is this Trav account with no password, and we'll set that later. I'm going to go ahead and have it log in as Trav on the first boot. Okay, now this part is personal preference. If you don't want that search box on your taskbar right up front, you can hide it, and I don't need it. I keep it hid on all of my machines. Going to disable the widgets, which is this annoying thing when you accidentally mouse over it. A lot of times it'll pop up. See, it's not even consistent about it. So we'll disable the widgets. I'm going to put the taskbar to the left like I already have on this system. I don't use task view. That's an extra thing that shows up down here. If you use that and know what it is, you can leave that unchecked. Okay, and do not show Bing search results when searching the start menu. Most definitely we want to turn that on, because I don't use the start menu to do web searches. If you are into that kind of thing, leave this unchecked. This stuff right here is kind of crazy. You don't want to turn off most of this. So we're just going to leave that be, except disable app suggestions and content delivery manager. If you've ever clicked on start and saw something like Candy Crush in there and you have no desire for Candy Crush and Microsoft decided you needed to see Candy Crush, click this right here and that'll keep it from happening. Okay. And I recommend going through real careful like when you're doing this to set it up exactly how you want it. All right, I'm going to continue configure Wi-Fi interactively, which in the case of this PC, I'm going to just not even set up any kind of networking till we get into Windows. You may not have to do that. Now, I really like this bloatware. These are the things built into Windows. If you don't want any of this stuff, turn it off. So I'm going to go through real quick and pick the stuff that I have no interest in, and feel free to remove other things that I haven't or keep some of the things I didn't. But I really like this because I would go in and get rid of this stuff anyway, but it's kind of nice starting out with a very clean Windows 11 install. All right, and most of this doesn't apply to most people. Now we're done picking our options. I'm just going to hit download.xml file. I'm going to hit save. Make sure you're already on your ESD USB drive, D colon here in my case. And we're going to save it right in the root of this drive. Now, you may not see .xml on the end of your file. I have my file name extension shown. You may not. But if that's the case, just make sure it's auto attend. And you may have .xml, you may not. But when you hit save, the browser should put that extension on there for you if it wasn't already there. Now, if we go back over to our file explorer and look in the flash drive, there's auto-unattend.xml. So I'm going to go ahead and hit eject right here because we're done with the flash drive. And now I'll see you over at the new PC. Oh, the glass looks a little bit milky, you say? I saved the peel just for you all. And the front. Now that we got the peel out of the way, let me tell you a little bit about this PC. It is actually a result of me having a spare graphics card, NVMe drive, and motherboard. So I went out and bought 16 gigs of RAM, which, you know, was very painful considering how much I had to pay for it right now. And an i3 12100F, because this is a LGA 1700 motherboard. And I also had an old power supply sitting around, so I threw them in this $49 case, and the RGB fans are not the greatest, but they are cheery and happy, and I really do like the blue on the bottom of the case. I would never use this thing for my day-to-day because I like to have 5 1/4 drive bays for card readers and that sort of expansion. And this thing is like a fishbowl with nowhere to put anything like that. All right, so now we're going to plug the flash drive into the new PC and turn it on. And the way this flash drive is set up, because of auto-unattend.xml, this process is a lot more automated than if you did it the normal official Microsoft way without using auto-unattend.xml. The only thing that I'm going to have to do once it starts is verify the drive that we're going to install Windows 11 on, and then hit next, and then we sit back and pretty much don't have to do anything until the computer reboots a few times. So it skipped through choosing the language, it skipped through pick in the version of Windows 11 we're going to install. So now all I have to do is tell it that I want this to be put on disk 0. And if the drive in your new PC is brand new, this is pretty much what it's going to look like. It'll have disk 0 unallocated space. If it has a bunch of other stuff in there that you don't want, you go up and delete each of the partitions. I do not want to delete disk 1 partition 1 because this is the install USB drive. So I'm just going to do next, and then we sit back for some amount of time and wait for the computer to reboot. And it'll probably reboot 2 or 3 times. It just kind of depends. So I'll see you when that part gets done. All right, here comes the first reboot. Now when you see these PowerShell windows pop up, do not worry. That's just the way that the AutoAttend.xml is doing some of the tasks we wanted. That first pop-up indicates that the local account that we wanted was created, and this one here is removing all of that bloatware that we said we didn't want. Okay, another reboot, getting closer. And this skips so many steps from the official Microsoft way of doing the install that collects a lot of personal information and forces you to make a Microsoft account and all that crazy stuff. So I literally couldn't connect to the network right now if I wanted, because I am having to use a USB Wi-Fi adapter because this motherboard is kind of a cheapie and doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, and I don't have Ethernet to this corner of the basement. So I'm going to say I don't have internet. If you do not use AutoUnattend.xml, I wouldn't even have this option. So I'm just going to say I don't have internet, and we can deal with that momentarily. Okay, here we are, and I am signed in as the Trav user. It says searching for a display driver, but it can't because I'm not on the internet. And that's okay. It'll take off and download the driver as soon as it can. The very first thing I'm going to do, though, is because this Trav user doesn't have a password, so I'm just going to hit Control-Delete at the same time and change a password. Old password's empty because we didn't set one, and now I'll set one. Okay, and you hit this little arrow. So now it won't automatically log in. It has to have a password. So now let's get this machine online, and this will be different for everybody. If I was plugged in with Ethernet, it would already be online and it wouldn't be a problem, but I'm not. So I'm going to plug in my little USB dongle that's going to allow me to have Wi-Fi. And with some devices, you may have to use a PC that has internet to download a driver if you have Wi-Fi that is not automatically supported by the installer. This one's a little bit different. It actually has the driver built right into the Wi-Fi dongle. So we just click that, and then I'm going to do setup install. I'm going to tell it yes. Install. And you may or may not have to do this. Chances are you won't. But these USB Wi-Fi adapters generally don't have the drivers built into the operating system install. So let me go ahead and connect to the internet. All right, and we are connected. So now, the first thing I'm going to do, this is just me personally, I would rather use Chrome. Start without your data. confirm, confirm, and start browsing. Let's just go to Google. Now I'm just going to type in download Chrome. These are sponsored results, so I'm going to go ahead and go down to just the regular Chrome download, because believe it or not, you may get a slightly different version, but we want to keep this nice and simple. No, I don't want to stay with Edge. I'll download Chrome. And I know that Chrome spies on you just as much as Edge. It's just for a different company. But I've used Chrome for a long time. I used to be a Firefox user, but it got really bad. So now we've downloaded Chrome. Gonna tell it yes. Okay, my Starlink finally decided to cooperate, and we've got Chrome installed. So I'm gonna go ahead and close Edge. And you could go ahead and sign into Chrome if you wanted to, but I'm gonna say don't sign in. I will set it as the default browser. If you don't mind using Edge, use Edge. But if you would prefer Chrome, that's how I can set it as the default. Okay, and got it. So now I'm going to go download the right graphics driver. And my card is one that most people are probably not going to have. It's an Intel A770. So I'm just going to type in download Intel A770 driver. Now, whatever graphics card you have, just type in download, and then if it's an NVIDIA, you say NVIDIA, and then whatever the graphics card is, followed by the word driver. And it should bring up a site where you can download the driver. Now, Microsoft in Windows Update has lots and lots of graphics drivers now, but they're never the most up-to-date ones, and sometimes they're missing a bunch of features. So now I'm going to go here and try to download this graphics driver, and it looks like Starlink's doing halfway decent. So I'll be back when that gets done and we'll get it installed. And it looks like while we're doing this download, Windows has already installed a graphics driver for us. As you can see, the resolution got much higher all of a sudden. But that's okay. We're still going to install this one we're downloading because chances are the one in Windows Update is a little out of date already. And if you're into playing 3D games, you really need the latest drivers most of the time, especially with NVIDIA and AMD. We'll go ahead and fire up our Intel utility that we downloaded. So I've got it fired up. It's a pretty big file, so it's probably unpacking some stuff. It should pop up shortly. So we have to tell it yes, because we're running that graphics installer. All right, I don't think it's going to do a whole lot because Windows Update is running, but we're just going to do I agree. And if you're curious, you can hit show details and it'll show you a bunch of stuff that it is checking on, looking at, all that good happy stuff. And the screen may flicker a bunch when you're installing any kind of graphics driver, whether it's Intel, AMD, or NVIDIA. So don't worry if that happens. It is important to not just turn your PC off when your graphics driver is being installed, because like this says, a firmware update is in progress. Sometimes that takes a while and is really slow, but a firmware update can fix a lot of problems that would otherwise be impossible with just a regular software update. While this is doing that, we can go check and see what Windows Update is doing. I'll just click the Start menu and type Windows Update, and then click on Check for Updates. And you can see it's been downloading and installing stuff this entire time, which is another reason that everything else seems like it might be kind of slow. So there we go. We're going to finish. And this will make sure that everything stays up to date. for Intel. That's this little thing that lives down here, Intel graphics software. NVIDIA has one that'll be green with a little black box, and AMD's is some kind of red. So team blue for Intel, green for NVIDIA, and red for AMD. So now I'm going to go ahead and do install all. And sometimes Windows Update will get a little bit fouled up. If it does, my best advice to you is just to restart and run Windows Update again. That's not optimal, but it's better than it just not working. So now I'm going to go ahead and close the browser and restart now. And remember, after this restart, I will have to put in the password to my local account. So the last thing I'm going to show you how to do before ending this video is we're going to go to System and scroll down to Activation. And right now, this Windows 11 Pro is not activated because I don't have a product key and I've never installed Windows on this motherboard and activated it. So you need to go get yourself a product key, and this is where you can come to change it. You can go pay retail for a key if you want. You can get an OEM key, or there are the key selling places online. Some of them are shady, some of them are reputable. It's up to you to go find one that you're comfortable with. But this is how you actually put in a product key to activate Windows. The beautiful thing is Windows will work in every way except you won't be able to change your desktop background or the colors. If you don't care about that, it doesn't even matter if you ever activate Windows 11. So that's it for this video. If you found this helpful, give me a like and a subscribe. It helps other people find my content. If you want to, leave me a comment, let me know where you're from, because I find it fascinating that people from all over the world find my videos and think they're useful. You guys have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.